Oh my God. I just turned on my computer. What did I see, everybody?
Here I am. And what did I see? Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mr. Freeman. You know what? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen. I got to meet Mr. Freeman in the real world, IRL, as they say, in real life last weekend. You came out to Santa Barbara and we got to see each other. You were way taller than I thought you were going to be.
I wasn't 5'2".
You were not 5'2". You were, I think you're pushing 6'2", maybe 6'3". We're about the same height.
Yeah, we're about the same height. We're like brothers.
I thought it was also interesting that you'll never see me not wearing black. And I didn't think I ever saw you not wearing either green or brown.
That would be true. That would be true. It's like, that was actually really funny because it was, you're wearing black. Kimberly is wearing black. My Kimberly, her favorite color is black. My favorite color is green. Like the earth tones, greens, browns.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were very on brand with your style. Yes.
Yeah. So, and yeah, and it was like, okay. And I had to pack in a small suitcase for 4 days. So I actually do have more clothes than just that, but those are good clothes.
Well, there's other breaking news. There is an August retreat in Colorado. I am going to join the retreat, and we are going to add a business track to the retreat, of which I am going to chair.
The retreat
in Jefferson.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Is that breaking news?
Breaking news.
Son of a bitch. That is like over the fucking top.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, wow. I've been talking to Traver about the thing that I can add, the value I can add, as you saw last weekend, was just around the business of just, how do you deal with business, having done it my whole life. And I'm going to come in and meet the guys and do that. So that should be cool. So if you're in business, thought about being in business, I'm very entrepreneurial. So it's going to be that kind of vibe is how do you inculcate an entrepreneurial spirit. So,
okay. So just so everybody knows, and I'm saying this so everyone gets it, Mark is a triple black belt in business. I learned so much this last weekend, and the weekend wasn't even focused exactly on business, but the pieces that you taught and the level at which you taught, like top notch. So anybody that's listening to this, come out and spend some time with us and spend time with Mark, because you'll get top level.
There you go. There you go. And, thank you, my friend.
It's like mind blowing. You skip over all the junk and go right to the top.
I don't have time for the junk.
So then, if you're listening to this, put it in your calendars.
There you go. Yeah, it's I believe it's the last weekend in August.
Yeah, I can get the exact dates if you want me to.
Well, Traver will let the world know. And so I'm excited. Very excited about that. Which leads me to today's topic, which is working with a team. And when I say that to you, what do you think of?
Actually, when you say that, a whole lot of energy goes through my body, both on two levels. One, the teams that I've worked with that have just been incredibly difficult to work with. And then the other are the teams I've worked with that are just like top notch, and it flows like butter and are just amazing. And I also, interestingly enough, as I'm just talking here, is, what kind of teamwork do you and your partner have? Because I know that you and Kimberly work as a team extremely well. And me and my Kimberly work as a team very well. In fact, that's been part of our discussion since I've returned from Santa Barbara. how teams work and what happens in teams can, I think, make or break what goes on.
We could do an entire book on it. I've been working around teams and optimizing teams for the last 20 years. My software company built software that would actually, figure out how to build the right team. And so team is kind of a loaded thing for me, but I'm going to take a left turn on us here, my friend.
Go for it.
I think there are rings of layers to that team. You've got,
absolutely.
I've got my direct team. I've got, we stay with baseball for a second. I've got the team that's on the bench. I've got my AAA club, I've got my scouts. I've got, you think about all the people that are involved and how that works. That's a way to think about it. We could do a show just on how do you optimize your personal relationship to have one dimension of it be a strong team component. So it's not the romantic relationship. It's not the friend, it's the partner in work relationship, which I don't think gets talked about a lot. There's that. Here's the team I'm thinking of. It's your extended team, and there are people who I don't think you would think are on your team, but they're on my team. And these are the people that help get shit done in your life, that you can't do it without them. You might call them service providers. You might call them, there's all kinds of names for these folks in your life. And it has been my appreciation, let's say that, appreciation for the work that they do and understanding they're on my team, though they wouldn't ever say that, and most people wouldn't think that. I can't get this thing done unless they do their job in a really great way. And not just because I'm paying them, but because they're the best person to do that job. And I recognize that. So just as if they were on my team and I was doing all the things I'm recognizing, I'm supporting them, I'm training them, I'm communicating all the things it takes to make a powerful team member, I put that much energy into the person at the print counter at Office Max who was making my workbooks for me.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that, because you're right. People would not think of the person at the print counter or say at the bakery that you're going to get rolls for snacks, or people don't think about those folks as being on your team, or even the Uber driver that gets you to the place that you're going.
So take and dissect that sentence you said. People don't think about those folks. And then you said some other stuff, but I'm going to stop you right there. People don't think about those folks. Right. They're just there and they're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, okay, here's your money. Yeah, what were you saying? They're ancillary and they're ignored and they're invisible. I hate talking in absolutes. We've had this discussion. Absolutely. However, it feels like the majority of folks have invisibilized, there's a word, the service providers in their life. Would you concur with that?
I would. And not only have they invisibilized them, they almost objectify them. Yes. When they're not invisible.
Yeah.
As if they're almost not a real person.
100%. And I get kidded by my kids on how nice I am to to just the people who help me get through my day. Mm-hmm. And Dad, you're nice to everybody. Now, and I want to pause just for a second because I want to tackle this kill the nice guy thing because kill the nice guy is a loaded term in the nation. And I'm not at all going towards that. I'm suggesting that having an attitude which could be perceived as being nice to those people that are supporting you actually helps you. It's leverage, right? It is. I'm leveraging. Like, here's the example, and this came to me a couple of weeks ago, and I said, this is what I want to talk about, because I don't think people are talking about it. We had a bunch of posters at the event, as you saw. Kimberly teaches from these posters, and they're large, and so I designed them and I upload them online, which is fantastic. Saves me a bunch of time. Yes, this is one day printing or same day printing or something. It's like, this is fantastic. I'm going to get them mounted, do the whole thing. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go downtown. I'm just going to go check, make sure everything's good, because I can't afford for this to be late.
You don't want to show up on.
Show starts the next day. Kimberly doesn't need the anxiety. My job is to make sure all the details get handled. This is just the detail. And I go in, I said, just want to make sure. Oh, well, she says, well, those will be delivered on the 28th. I went, okay, but today's the 23rd. I need them delivered on the 23rd. At the latest, tomorrow, the 24th. She says, oh, well, that was such a big order. It got sent to the regional printing center, the RPC. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And how are we going to get them here tomorrow by 9 o'clock? How can I help you get that done? Was my question. How can I help you? Didn't say do your job. How can I help you? Because that wasn't, it's as a leader, I want to help them get their job done. Right. So what do I need to do? Oh, well, sure. 30 minutes later, she had transferred the project to the local store, had assigned a person to it, had figured out, rechanged all the workflow. I could go pick them up later that day at 6 o'clock. Everything was going to work out. But I'd been super nice. Midway through, I'd say, what's your name? I don't want to keep calling you ma'am. Her name's Paula. Paula, you are crushing it right now. I can't believe, like, I didn't think you could. When I walked in here, I don't think you thought you could do this. Look what you did.
Did you actually say that?
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Look what you did. This is great. And she, boom, lit up, because she's in a job where people are yelling at her, I need this and I need this and get me that, and how come it's late, and and how come it's 17 cents, it said 16, whatever. She's just getting crushed all day long, and in a job that's probably only paying minimum wage plus $1, you know. And then I said,
yeah,
I said, who's going to get all this done? She looks over at the guy. There's just two of them. Jordan's going to do it. I said, okay. Said, Jordan like burritos? She goes, yeah, probably. I fished out a 20 and I said, this $20 that you don't see is going to go towards burrito lunch for Jordan, because he's going to work through his lunch. So it's kind of like that Jedi mind trick. These are not the droids you seek. Right here, this is for the lunch hour that he's not going to get to take, because he's going to be working on my project. And the look on her face, and because I had a choice. I could have, okay, God damn it. It says one day printing, and yeah, there's probably fine print that said, unless it's this or unless it's that.
Right.
No doubt that I needed to get my thing done. So for that brief amount of time, she's on my team. And so I'm just curious, thinking back, the person who's listening right now, how do you treat the people who you need on your side to get something done, no matter what that is? And they're not exactly working for you for that minute, but maybe they're only working for you for 20 minutes or 4 minutes. What do you think when I tell you that story?
Well, one, I love it. Two, just so everybody knows, I spent time with Mark around people, providing lunches and getting stuff done. Mark is telling you the truth. Just so you all know that this is not a made up story. And three is what you just described were actually two things. One is the difference between control and power. And the other is in walking into any relationship, even if it's a 2.5 minute long relationship at the checkout counter, we all have to make choices. Do we make the choice to promote contact and connection in relationship, or do we make the choice to avoid or diminish contact and connection in relationship? And what you did repeatedly was make contact. And we've talked about this in previous shows, is you make contact and connection and to be able to influence and be influenced, because you were just as influenced by them as they were by you. Had you pounded on the table and gone, God damn it, this is supposed to be done yesterday, and what the, blah, blah, blah. That's control. And when we go that route, that's just dangerous. That's that danger stuff that we talk about in the nation. And not that harms people. That's where I want to go with that. And but what you did was come in and promote contact. And you were incredibly powerful. Interestingly enough, that's not what a lot of people would consider that to be. Because a lot of people think what power is the, do it right now and get it done and blah, blah, blah. And that's not what that is. And there's actually no way to know this, but I would wonder, had you taken a different tact, had you been forceful and demanding and et cetera, whether or not the posters would have even gotten done.
Oh, no doubt.
And even if they had gotten done, everybody would have left with bad feelings, including you.
And all that bad juju would have been in those posters.
Exactly. And the next time you needed posters, but Santa Barbara isn't that big of a place.
No, it's tiny.
And
the planet isn't that big a place.
The planet is not that big of a place. And you would end up running into somebody, probably the same person, the next time you need something. The next time you need something, they're going to say, what can I do to get this done more quickly for you, Mark? Right. Versus, oh God, here he comes again.
Right. We're closed. We just closed.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. As opposed to, hey, I see you didn't redeem this coupon that we gave you. Here's a coupon for 50% off. I mean, that kind of stuff, right? Where they're
right.
I'm thinking now that people know that I'm a chef in one of the universes I live in, and I cook for 7 families for the last couple of years during COVID. And often in the 28 dishes, I forgot to get the limes, or I ran out of mayo or something, and I've got to go to the store. Thankfully, the store is on the other side of that block. So I can be around the store in a second, and I know everybody there, and I'm super nice to them. And just because I am, in the sense that I recognize they're doing a hard work. I recognize that they're frontline people who were getting sneezed on, in the early days. And just when I walk by and someone's yelling at them for something stupid, it's, how hard it is for me to not grab the person and shake them and say, shut the fuck up and get out of here. Leave her alone. She's an awesome lady. I know their kids. I know what they do. I know, because to your point, it's about every one of these interactions is an opportunity to create a relationship, right?
You
Doesn't
bet.
have to be high stakes. It's just, hey, they feel a little better about this probably crappy job they've got.
Well, and what you just described is, interestingly enough, is different than the nice guy. It's actually the polar opposite. When Traver is talking about, kill the nice guy, in that sense, the nice guy is not relational. The nice guy, in the sense that Traver is talking about, is transactional. I will do this to get this, versus being kind and being relational. Because you can be incredibly kind, you, universally we, and still have high expectations.
Yes. I keep thinking of all the times where I have those little interactions where just being nice and honest and kind of putting yourself, for me, it's, I put myself in the shoes of the other person. And maybe it's because I was in the hospitality industry until I was 30 years old. And I just learned consistently that when people come to me and they're, what the term now is called hangry, right? They're hungry and they're angry. They call it hangry. I didn't know that when I was 30, but they would show up and they're in that state, and I'm the one with the food. And I would explain to them, your attitude is not going to get your food faster. However, if you have a nice attitude, the food might be better. Oh, because I have the ability to make it better. Can't make it faster.
Would you actually say that to people?
Fuck yeah.
Right on. That's amazing.
I have the food. You want the food. It is a position of power in that sense, right? And I learned that very, very early on, that that they came in hungry, and I was a breakfast chef for most of my life. And I would tell my girls, you are a human cup of coffee. I need you to be cheery and bright, and you're going to wake them up, and just, I want a big smile, and I want you to love on them. And I want you, because they're grumpy, who knows how they woke up, who knows what happened. When they come in here, it is all glory and light and love and happiness. And we're going to feed them, and we're going to send them out of here just like this was the best decision they made, was coming in here to have something to eat. And maybe it was that, Dewey, that very, very young learning that I'm a service person. And I see, maybe that's what it is. I didn't grow up entitled. I grew up as a service person.
You're right. And you continue to do that. What did you provide for people when they went out to be that human cup of coffee? Because this is a really important piece. And
what did I provide to the girls?
No, to your customers.
Oh, the word that comes to mind, hope that it's going to be a great day.
Exactly. You provided two things: nurturing,
yes,
which creates hope, and nutrition. Those two things always go together. Hopefully. I got all three words in there. That was pretty good. When I was in Santa Barbara, right across the street from my little hotel that I stayed in, it was interesting because the service at the hotel was not very good. It was like a 5. Wasn't horrible. However, across the street, there was a little coffee shop that you pointed out to me the first day that I was there. You said, that's the best coffee shop in Santa Barbara. Well, you're right. And I would go in and I would get smiles. I get, how are you today? I would all end up having very good food. But those two pieces together, that contact, that kindness, the nurturing, and I didn't know any of the people there.
Right.
I had breakfast there 4 times. So by the 4th time, it was 3 times. By the 3rd time, it was like, oh, how are you today? And what was interesting, there was an older couple, older my age, that came in at the same time I came in, and the man of the couple. And the first day it was like, hey, how are you? Second day was, oh, well, how are you today? And the third day,
your old friends.
Yeah. And it was, when we're in a team or a service team, a huge part of what we're looking for is nurturing, not just nutrient.
Right.
So when you went in to get the posters, which by the way, the posters were beautiful. I was impressed. I was sitting there going, I wonder how I can make these. I can use this idea. We get nurtured by the people that we oftentimes don't allow ourselves to see.
Right.
When somebody brings us a breakfast and sets it on the table, whether it's actually my Kimberly, that she does that all the time for me, or I'm out like I was in Santa Barbara, somebody walking up and handing you a good meal in a relational, kind way is gigantic versus same meal and toss it on the table.
And here's the part that I think as receivers, to have an appreciation and acknowledgement of the receipt that was a gift the person gave.
Yes.
That actually enriches you even more to just, and that's about being present, right? Because chances are in that circumstance, you're not present. I'm thinking about what I need to do, or I'm doom scrolling on my phone, or I'm not present. I was just, oh yeah, there's food. Yeah, great. Okay, now I'm gonna eat while I'm still doing my thing. And I have a completely different relationship with food, in the sense that it's for me, it is the key to unlocking the door to community. When I have to eat alone, I have to eat alone. Then it's just, I'm nourishing, putting fuel in the engine, right? But like when we went and had a couple meals, it's the breaking bread together that we rarely do anymore, where we actually, for me, it's maybe because I'm a chef, but I think there's an opportunity to just think about that time, no matter how casual it is, as an important moment to build community and relationship.
When you're talking about that, are you talking about specifically about food, or are you talking about being nurtured in other ways too?
Typically it's around me. I think around meals. We don't, it feels like we've gotten away. We have fast food, that we don't have any communal time. There's very little communal time. It started in the 50s when mom went to work, and we needed, TV dinners. We put kids in front of the TV, and then the food in front of the kids, and they just ate while they're watching TV, didn't know what they were doing. And so this is systemic, going all the way back. And I've railed against that, my whole life, because I love to sit and eat and talk and connect. And sometimes, you know, Kimberly and I, the only time we see each other in the day is at the meal, because we're working. So I cherish every minute of that. But we've gotten off of those people who are helping do that stuff for us. And we've either we have this sense of entitlement. Of course they should serve me. Yes, they're here to serve me. Well, bullshit. You know, if you're in a position where you can have servants and doing stuff, doesn't mean you need to be an asshole.
Well, exactly. And actually, the piece of being helped and nurtured, I have another quick story to share. My flight back from Santa Barbara was great. About 20 minutes before we landed, I started looking through my bag for my parking ticket, my little ticket from where I parked my car. I could not find it. It was nowhere to be seen. Now the lot that I parked in, you take a little shuttle to the lot, and there's 8,000 places, 8,000 parking places. And in my mind, and I called Kimberly and said, I lost it. We were having a discussion. It was just, after a weekend and flying and the intensity, and I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? When I got on the shuttle, I said to the driver, because he was collecting tickets, there were maybe 12 people on the shuttle of where people's cars were. And I said, I lost my ticket. I can't find it. He said, no problem. And all of my angst just went, yeah. And he said, what day did you get here? And what time did you park? It took me a minute. I mean, I was sort of stunned. It was like, that was the last question I thought he would be asking me. And I told him and about what time, and he called in and to whoever at the parking lot, and they told him what row I would park in, or when people were parking. He dropped about 2/3 of the people off, and before me, which he would have done anyway had I got my ticket with the little route, and he pulled it right up to my car. And it was like, his nurturing of me. And I can tell you for a fact, he did not go home to whomever he went home to, that he did not walk in the house that evening and go, I nurtured this, big, tall guy. It was just part of his day, but the way he did that, and it was like, no problem. I mean, it was literally taken care of in 30 to 45 seconds. And what was also interesting is a couple of people, and actually the woman that ended up sitting next to me, in the seats, just started talking and saying, well, I've lost my ticket before too. And then we had this, I don't know, 10, 12-minute discussion from the terminal out to the parking lot. But it was just sweet. It changed my entire evening and day. And when you speak about that, the men and women that provide services are part of our team, that's profound, because we don't allow ourselves to think about them that way. So I'm
which is why we do this show, my friend.
Exactly, because had he not done that, I just want everyone that's listening to this to envision an 8,000 space parking lot. That's not a small parking lot. That's acres of parking. And I could have been walking around there for an hour before I found my car. And
I bet it wasn't warm and sunny like it was in Santa Barbara.
Well, it was warmer. I will say that, but it was not warm. It wasn't like it was in Santa Barbara. It was above freezing, thank goodness. But it was like, oh, that person in some ways was as significant as everybody else that presented. Because my weekend in Santa Barbara was about learning and was about stretching and was about being cared for and getting each other's back. And like the dude had my back.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
here's
so let's take this one. I'm going to push a little bit. So for those who are listening to this, Storytelling School does an annual event called Story to Standing Ovation, and we talk about the role of story in our lives, in every aspect of our lives, and all the participants thought of a story of something that happened, and then developed that story throughout the weekend, mostly to teach you how to think about story and think about how Kimberly likes to say, hey, things are either going to go well or you're going to have a story to tell. And in this instance, we think about stories as little anecdotes that lead to life lessons. This is not news. The Psalms, the parables, all that's all, been there, done that. But thinking about it, there's a story you can tell in there. The setting, you're returning.
Right.
The snap, can't find my parking ticket. The struggle, we know what the struggle was. We heard that, all the various things around the struggle. The shift is an external force. In this case, the guy goes, oh, well, just tell me. So the shift is also the end of the struggle. He says, tell me where, boom, the success, you got that. So let me ask you now, student Dewey, what was so there's the story, right? We just crafted a story with the 5 S's, right?
Perfect.
What was the lesson?
What's the takeaway?
Yeah.
I think it was another lesson to trust other people.
There you go. And so that's how, as we are just going through life as fast as we are, stories are happening around us all the time.
Yes.
All the time. And it's when you stop to kind of pay attention, and this gets back to being present, but I always have a little story catcher in my head. When I was at the print shop, I was like, oh, there was a snap, that first unusual thing. Oh, the posters aren't here. They're at a regional printing center, which begins the struggle. The shift comes about when she says, well, I could cancel that job and do the job here. It's going to cost you a little more. So she ends the struggle by shifting the way I'm thinking, which gets to the success. And so because I'm always teaching and learning and trying to learn myself, what we find from that is each one of these things gets us to a lesson. In my case, I always want to have a great thing to talk about on our show. So here you can see how that led to this, which led to us having a great conversation again, my friend.
Totally. And the takeaway from this today for me is to become aware of all the team members on my team. All of them, even if I never really learn their names.
I know your name. You're Dewey Freeman. I'm Mark Sylvester. We're the Elder Council. We love you guys.
Love you. Thank you.